Good evening. This is Jorge Cardenas. I am your host for the video series Healing Addiction is Fast and Easy. This is the 9th video. I want to encourage you to listen to the videos in a sequential manner. I want you to know that the first 6 videos are really intended for those that are actively addicted, regardless of what the addiction is going to be, whether it is alcohol or pills or porn or shopping or sex or collecting, hoarding. The process is very similar to every single one. From the last video, I created what I caused my son's addiction. It's intended to really cause you to think about your role as the parent in creating, or at least in perpetuating, the problem. And so these next 2 videos are going to be how to become a good sponsor. And so I want you to understand what the process is. And imagine that you get in a box a whole bunch of electronic pieces, screws, plastic parts, and in this box, without any instructions, has a single sign that says build a computer. Now, some of us are going to say forget it, close the box and put it around. Other people are going to try to do in their own way, as much as logic allows, that if you have 4 screws and have 4 holes, the screws must be going in the holes. And I suspect that a few of you, given the fact that you simply felt capable, were able to put it together to the point that you may have had some success, to the point that one could power the computer. And I suspect that there is a nerd among you that you get all the parts, and without even having 2 thoughts, you're going to successfully and skillfully complete the mission of building the computer. And so this is more or less what is happening in life. In life, when you are given a training, you might be able to successfully complete every single task. But the majority of us try to use logic and try to put things together, and we more or less could make it. I suspect that one could make progress to the point of powering the computer, but there are going to be some people that are going to say, forget it, I'm not going to even try. I want you to know that the difference between those that put it away and those that are skillful about it is training. And if you have not received the training to make a computer, you are going to simply use it as a stand, use it as a box, use it as a recycled material. You are going to be doing those things that appear illogical to the rest of us who are at least trying to make a computer out of the box. And so the addicted person is this person that has not had any training in dealing with life. Think of the box as life. And so what happens is that there is 1 or 2 people that are very skilled and successful at everything they do, and we are envious of them. Most of us have heard about computers, know what a hard drive is, and has seen the different ports and all of this. And so some of us are able to put somewhat together just because we have had some training. But the addicted person has not had the training. And the training that is required to handle life, no one even talks about it. And so, as I mentioned before, since I was the parent of the person that is using, I am the one that is responsible for the training of this person in order to be able to handle life. Part of the training also comes from family members. part of the training comes from school. A part of the training comes from society, what society dictates what right and wrong is. And so, but the majority of it, the majority of the training comes from the parent. And so, for one instance, I will give excuse to a drug addicted person or an alcoholic to say that it was your parents' fault. Now that's the end of the excuse. Because now that you're an adult, now that I'm an adult, I cannot go on life complaining that my parents screwed me and that I have no responsibility whatsoever for anything that I do. Because at some point we have to stop. I began by assuming the responsibility that the problem, the lack of training, came from me. And I must say that now I can clearly see some of the mistakes that I made when I was trying to train them, and in my defense I have to say that no one really trained me how to be a good parent. I happen to come from a family of good parents who did their best, that in their best they fought like cats and dogs, and in their best they made the mistakes that they tried to do, because no one really sits down with you and says, this is what you are supposed to be doing. And even when you ask elderly, how did you do it? They usually come up with, one-liners, thinking that somehow that is going to be all the answers that you need for the rest of your life. And so now that I recognize that I was part of the problem, in that it was my failure to train the person, it becomes very simple to fix the problem. Because what happens is now I have a plan that I have to train the addicted person to change their thinking. And all I have to do is hold them accountable to the whole process. If you go back to the previous videos, I wanted you to recognize that setups like, for example, AA, are somewhat successful in that they come in a form of a meeting where there is a sponsor that facilitates the change of thinking that causes a change in action, which causes a change in the outcome. And if you don't understand that process, let me remind you that the creative force has 4 steps. It has thought, word, repetition, action, and outcome. And whatever thought I repeat becomes true. The outcome and the thought are equal. And so what happens is that if I want the addicted person to change the outcome of their life, how they manage life, then I have to begin by changing their thinking. Now, this is done in an environment that most people call meeting. But I want you to recognize that it is also called relationship. There has to be contact. The second thing that I have taught you in the previous videos is that there is this person that we call the sponsor, and the sponsor hopefully knows the new thought, but is going to hold the addicted person accountable to the new thought, to the repetition, to the action, and to the outcome. And what I want you to know is that without that accountability, the likelihood that the addicted person is going to change their thinking is very low. And indeed, in addiction circles, when you go to parents of Alcoholics Anonymous, like Al-Anon, it is frequently repeated that it is not your fault and that there is nothing you can do. Nothing more harmful to the process than that. And I was told that I had to back off and let him fall. And when you realize that when you remove yourself from the situation and you let them fall, what you are doing is making society responsible for the accountability, making the legal system responsible for the accountability. It is a form of accountability that if you, for example, get caught on a DUI, we may have to send you to jail, and I believe that that accountability at times is necessary. But the most important accountability comes from the day-to-day relationship that you have with the addicted person. You have the power to change that addicted person's thinking, the actions, and the outcome by the persistence of the relationship that already brought you together. So one of the things that you need to do is, number one, recognizing that you have an integral part in the recovery process. And when you recognize that you have an integral part in the recovery process, the rest is very simple, because all I have to do is apply the creative force to the same process of becoming a good sponsor, a good parent, a good trainer. Now, for example, if I keep on repeating thoughts like, I don't know what to do, the outcome is that I will be confused. I'm scared and I will end up with anxiety. It's not my job and I will stop trying. I'm doing my best and I will never change. I have to stop repeating all of those negative thoughts. And there is a simple thought that I recommend everyone to repeat. With God, I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. With God, all things are possible. When you repeat a thought like this, your brain begins to see, and your brain is going to be attracted only to those steps that fulfill the thought, and you are going to be seeing the solution. In the next video, second part, I'm going to emphasize a little bit more the point that I'm just trying to make. And for now, please contact us through the Facebook page, because we pay attention to that. We don't really pay too much attention to the YouTube comments due to time concerns. Thank you.